The business of power is evolving faster than ever, with demand rising, climate risks escalating, and competition heating up. Meralco, the country's largest distributor, reports an 11% jump in core net income for the first quarter of 2025, boosted by stronger contributions from both power distribution and generation. With renewable projects in the pipeline and record stock price levels, how is Meralco positioning itself for the next chapter of growth? Joining us now is Ronnie Aperocho, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Meralco. Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Hi, Mikey. Good morning.
Ronnie, let's start with the fresh figures. Up 11% in the first quarter of 2025. How do you plan on sustaining this momentum through this year and next? We just got word that the World Bank has reduced the growth target for this year. Its forecast for the year to 5.3%. How is that going to play out for you guys?
Well, thank you, Mikey. Actually, we're seeing positive contributions from, of course, the election time here in the Philippines, and usually when there's election, see an uptick in terms of sales. And for the first quarter of this year, we expect a higher temperature, so we expect significant growth, especially in the residential sector, which is basically sensitive to the temperature, increase in temperature. And, we are seeing very good contributions also from hyperscalers. So, last quarter of last year, we energized the biggest data center in the Philippines, which is the Vitro data center in Santa Rosa. And early this year, we have also energized another data center owned by STT, by Globe Telemedia. And we are seeing very good contribution from this segment. Mm-hmm. And commercial sales, by the way, also grew by 1%. Not that much, but basically there are so-called sustained demand from consumer-facing businesses, and even as the real estate based on sort of a headwind. But looking forward, we expect a stronger momentum second quarter. And the second half, of seasonal consumption and election-related, as I said earlier, are expected to pick up.
Yeah, the heat and the elections are going to give you guys a boost. That said, what's your forecast for 2025 in terms of net income?
Well, our chairman said yesterday that we're still looking at the double-digit increase in net income. Well, the exact figure might be too early to provide guidance, but that's the target of attaining a double-digit income for this year.
Okay. Another interesting trend is the adoption of electric vehicles. How do you see this playing out with the evolving energy demand and the mix, the push for EVs? How do you see that affecting things moving forward for Meralco?
We're quite positive that in due time there will be a ramp up in terms of EV vehicle adoption in the Philippines, though I would say that the incentive is not that much for the prospective EV users, but as reported to us, there have been significant requests already for charging stations from Meralco to install in strategic locations, and for us that's a very good signal that EV will definitely be a game changer for Meralco, and we're ready to provide that much needed infrastructure for us to provide some level of convenience to the EV users, that wherever they go in our franchise, there's always this charging station of Meralco to somehow give them the power or the energy that they need to run their electric vehicles.
Correct. Yeah, EV adoption is steadily picking up, and people are projecting brands like BYD to possibly even outpace brands like Toyota in the coming years as people pick up on this EV wave. We've got the demand for it, but we've got limited infrastructure for it by way of charging facilities. What do we need from the government in order to incentivize people to create the infrastructure for this?
We're looking for subsidy, but for now, I think, on our part, really more on providing the charging stations. And we're looking at building around 7,500 charging stations in 2028. So, of course, there's always this mandate for the government in terms of electric vehicle adoption, also to some government establishments also. So that's really the mandate for us to put more charging infrastructures.
On the supply side, Ronnie, Meralco is in favor of the push for nuclear energy. What can you tell us about, are we ready for this? And what are the hurdles keeping us from really getting into nuclear energy?
I think the government is ready for this. In fact, legislation is already underway. We're just awaiting for the passage of the Philatom bill that is now in the Senate. So, by the way, it has been passed already at the Congress. So we're now waiting for the passage of this, I would say, priority bill from the Senate. But while waiting for the passage of this bill, Meralco is already doing a lot of initiatives to really promote the adoption of nuclear energy in the Philippines. In fact, during the Giga Summit last week, we already launched our NEST program. NEST stands for Nuclear Energy Strategic Transition, which basically aims to support the government to develop 1,200 megawatts of nuclear power by 2030. Actually, this capacity is actually integrated already in the Philippine Energy Plan released by the Department of Energy, that having 1,200 megawatts of nuclear power in our total supply mix by 2030.
Looking at the figures, Ronnie,
Anyway, I have to correct that, not 2030, but 2032.
Okay, 8 million customers, 39 cities, 72 municipalities. How is Meralco modernizing its network to meet the growing demands?
Well, we always provide the much-needed capacity when additional capacity is needed in any locality. We would be very proactive in building the substation facility that will somehow provide the capacity. But not only the capacity, we're also very proactive in terms of providing a very reliable service all throughout our franchise area, especially that we have that the franchise has been renewed for another 25 years. This will really somehow accelerate our growth strategy, that of really modernizing our infrastructure.
Yeah.
Modernizing means not only about replacing the aging facilities, but putting in the automation, the digitalization of our power grid that will somehow provide a 24/7 reliable service, that of keeping the lights on for our 8 million customers.
That's right. Your franchise was renewed for another 25 years. New franchise, new chapter for Meralco. What are your key priorities as you embark on this new leg?
Well, our priorities, I would say, are anchored on 4 pillars. The first one, which I mentioned earlier, about grid modernization, which also includes, by the way, storm hardening. The next pillar is about elevating customer experience. So this is about leveraging digital technologies to improve customer service, that of streamlining our billing systems, enhancing our online platforms, and of course, providing efficient 24/7 customer support. And the third pillar is about advancing innovation technology. Of course, we have these emerging technologies like energy storage solutions and electric vehicles, as I discussed earlier. And of course, the distributed energy resource management, DER, and of course, smart home integration. And the last but not the least is about accelerating the clean energy transition. This is about complementing our energy sourcing portfolio of renewable energy like solar and wind. And on top of this, as I mentioned earlier, it's about the nuclear energy adoption in our country, which I think it's very timely because we need a very reliable and I would say a very cost-efficient source of baseload power in the country. That's why it's really about nuclear energy.
Okay, nuclear energy is interesting, but it's going to take a while before things are going to get expensive before they start to get cheap, because we're going to need to put so much investment into nuclear power. What are your thoughts on this? What's holding the Philippines back from really coming into this in a big way?
There's this public acceptance issue in terms of nuclear energy adoption. I think that's part of our advocacy to somehow educate our people that nuclear technology has already improved significantly. As we can see from the other countries, like France, for example, 75% of their energy supply is coming from nuclear power. And other countries in the Europe are adopting nuclear energy also. And we have this new generation of nuclear power plants that could somehow assure us as a very safe, I would say, energy production using nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm.
And here in Meralco, that's really part of our advocacy to help in educating our consumers and helping address that fear about nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm. Safety is one issue, then there's cost. If we adopt nuclear power, how much cheaper might that make power in the country?
Well, we need economies of scale for us to achieve, I would say, that level where it can be comparable to a conventional coal-fired power plant. And we need maybe at least 2,500 megawatts of coal, or maybe even higher. But basically, what we're looking is for a nuclear power to be competitive against coal. But basically, coal is of course not clean. So it's basically emits carbon. It's basically the reason why we have this energy transition, because we want to do away with carbon-producing power plants. But nuclear is really a clean source of energy, no carbon emissions in the atmosphere. So that's why globally, to address this energy transition, really a viable option is nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Of course, on top of renewables.
Okay, on another front, Ronnie, you filed for a new rate reset this year with ERC. So the ERC, they take a look every now and then to see where your rates are, and you filed for that rate reset. What would this mean? What are you asking for, and what would it mean for the Philippines?
Well, the reset process is essential to, of course, align our distribution rates with operational realities and regulatory efficiency. With the new rate reset, Meralco reaffirms its commitment, of course, to continually provide our customers with, I would say, the best value energy solutions, reliably, affordably, superbly, and sustainably through our pipeline project that will also support government initiatives. So it's a process where we submit the CAPEX and OPEX program of Meralco, but collateral to this, of course, are the service delivery commitments or expectations that, of course, once we have this investment as approved by ERC, we can somehow provide this level of service to our customers in terms of reliability, in terms of efficiency, in terms of quality, and many other benefits to the customers.
Okay, with a rate reset.
Part of this, by the way, Mikey, is our advanced metering infrastructure, or AMI, or shall I say a smart metering program.
Mm-hmm. With the rate reset, prices are going to go up, and but with that, service level expectations are going to increase as well. How crucial is this rate? Where are you in this process, and how crucial is it for you to maintain high levels of service?
Well, we have already filed our application to the ERC, and we're just awaiting for the decision on how to proceed. But there have been initial hearings already on our application, and the target is for them to act on this before June 1 of this year. There might be some delays, but hopefully it will never be delayed significantly. This is very important because this will somehow give the green light for Meralco to proceed with our CapEx programs, which are basically essential for us to start, I would say, acquiring the equipment. And at the same time, basically, this will also provide us with, as I said, a green light for us to somehow launch our programs, which some of them will take years before they will be completed. Like building a substation would usually take at least a year, for example. So, and of course for AMI or for smart metering program, so it's a long process because we have to undergo, I would say, a competitive selection process, or there's a bidding process for the best solution that we can avail for us to pursue this advanced metering infrastructure.
Okay, thank you for your time this morning, Ronnie Aperocho, EVP and Chief Operating Officer of Meralco. Electricity is the fuel of economic growth, so all the best to you at Meralco.